Guys, have you ever noticed why so many traders keep losing even they use all these fancy indicators? What if I told you that most of them don't actually understand how to combine them, and that's why they get false signals again and again? So today you'll see the core setup I use in my own trading. Let's go watching. So let's get started, guys, and begin with the very core part of this tutorial. Of course, that is explaining how the indicators work, and I will tell you guys how they operate individually and how I apply them in my daily trading and how you can combine them to obtain the most reliable signals. So let's start with the moving average. I think this is our main indicator. So we set an exponential moving average. So why do we do that? Because we trade with very short expirations, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's used as well since this moving average is more sensitive to price fluctuations. And here we set the period of 20 and perform the analysis on 1 minute time frame. So this is the most optimal setting for this moving average. So just let me explain you how you can orient yourself when trading using this indicator. Okay, let's highlight the working area. Look, to understand the trend and the strength of the trend, we can use the indicator in this segment and in this segment. So in general, we see that all price action is above the moving average, and we understand that the trend is upward. Likewise, in the opposite case, when the movement is below the moving average, so we understand that it is a downtrend, and if we want to open a trade downwards, that is basic knowledge you should know first. And now, guys, let's go over how we'll get signals and how I trade with this strategy. And guys, just supposing I want to open a trade and the trade is upside, for example. Let's again mark the working area. I need to see an uptrend on a more global scale, for example, like here, and we see a clear upward tendency. There are pullbacks, there is volume, everything suits us. And let's break down the two entry points that were here. First of all, we need the structural high and the structural low. And we see that during the uptrend, there was pullback in the dynamics. And what do we do next? We do not rush. We watch this pullback. The price moved a bit lower, and that's okay. That also suits us, and wait and do not open a trade in as soon as we see that after all this price swings, the price starts moving upward. We're already interested in the crossing of the moving average line, and this is one of the main signals here. So look, in uptrend, it is always better to open a trade in the direction of the trend. And here we see that price crossed the moving average from below to above. And accordingly, this is our signal to open the trade to the upside. And guys, as you can see, later the price moved upward, and if we had opened a trade here for 1, 2, or 3 minutes, we would have comfortably locked in profit. And the same applies to this section of movement. So here we also see a pullback, and then the price heads upward after the pullback dynamics. That is a signal. And to guard against false signals, for example, as happened here, where we see that the price almost crossed the moving average from below to above. But guys, in such cases, we need the RSI oscillator to confirm the trend dynamics. And here we see the overbought and oversold areas, and also the midline marked at 50. Guys, in this case, we focus on the midline because it's an important factor. If the RSI dynamics sit in the 50 to 70 range, that is a sign of upward dynamic, and if it's in the 50 to 30 range, that is a sign of downward dynamic. And look, in this case, every side didn't cross the midline, so this is not our signal to open a trade to the upside. And just let us analyze this entry point. So here we see the crossing occurred confidently and pretty well, and then the recycle crossed the midline at 50. That already confirms our signal. So here we can open a buy trade without any problems. And guys, just remember this moment, all of this is our primary signal, but we'll also take other factors into the account, right? So here we need a fractal with period 5. It highlights structural local highs and lows. So if you see during a pullback the formation of such a triangle, you should already be more alert and understand that the pullback has ended, for example here, and you can look for a trade. And again, as I said, there was a small additional pullback, but after the local low was updated, the price moved up. So we could have opened a buy trade here and just calmly close it in profit. And guys, next we have the ADX oscillator, and so we set the parameter to 15. So what do we use this oscillator for? So let's analyze it. We're interested in this part of the movement, so just have a look. Here it looked like the trend began to take a downward character and the price plunged significantly, and one might be tempted to open a sell trade, and you know, many beginners make that mistake. For example, if you had drawn some levels, you could have opened a sell trade here, but that is not what we want. So when that global low forming, which the fractal shows us, we look at ADX dynamics and see that trend overload has appeared. And the indicator updates that value, and we can just understand the movement, understand the moment when the trend might reverse, and in which cases we just shouldn't look for a trade. And in other words, if we see price is close to the trend overload, we must not open a position. That is additional analysis. And in this part of this movement, we see an uptrend with a good volatility and volumes, while there is no overload in the trend. Just see ADX is just roughly in the 24-25% range, which means healthy trend dynamics. So here we can look for our trade, and that is the main point of how you should apply this indicator. I'll repeat this setting. Well, exponential moving average is period 20, fractal period 5, and RSI with period 20, and overbought and oversold areas left by default. and the midline at set parameter is of 50 and ADX with parameter 15, and we just remove the plus and minus lines because we do not expect signals from them. We're just exclusively interested in the trend overload in either direction. You can also open counter trend trade, but that is a more advanced approach and requires more practice, so I do not recommend it for beginners, guys. For example, here we can give a case. We see the moving average cross from above to below after the formation of a global high, and the RSI dynamics crossed the midline at 50, and theoretically you could have opened a sell trade here, but we are not interested in that. We're interested exclusively in trades following the trend. And when trading with RSI, you can also use the overbought and oversold areas, orienting on the moment when RSI just has the crossing from these areas. That is also one of the oscillator signals, but in our case we're mostly interested in the midline at 50%. So guys, I hope everything is clear, and I try just to explain it in detail, and the video will most likely be long, but the main thing is that you started to understand this strategy. And guys, I will give one clear example right away. You know, it might seem the moving average crossed from below to above, but we do not see the RSI that crosses the midline, so we should not open the trade. So here is a vivid example we just worked through, and that's all for the theoretical part, guys. Now let's open a couple of trades. I think it will be enough for this tutorial. We will open them with 1 minute expiration, since the tutorial is already long, as you can understand it. So we'll open 1 or 2 trades as examples, and I will select the assets. So this will be currency pairs. We will not choose OTC pairs for now. We will look for regular, just daily pairs and see what we have. Okay, I'll start the analysis and get back to you as soon as I find the trade. Look, guys, it didn't take long to find one. We're interested in the AUD and CAD pair, so here we'll open a sell trade, and before opening, let's analyze it a little. So we have a downward trend and everything is okay, and there was a pullback in the dynamics with the formation of a local high. The trend is confirmed, and further we see the moving average crossing from above to below, and on the other side is the midline was crossed, and ADX doesn't show overload in the trend. So guys, I think you can see that as well. So theoretically we could open a sell trade, just look, but we'll not open it now because price action changed it and the signal is no longer so reliable. So we skip it and just continue the analysis to find a more suitable currency pair. Look, here I will open a buy position. I didn't find good signals on regular currency pairs, and just I had to switch to OTC pairs, but unfortunately there were no signals either. So I just chose the AUD and CAD OTC pair, and here we see an uptrend, and just it has a weak volatility, and at the end, after updating the global high, there was a pullback that just formed a local low according to the fractal, and then the price moved up cross the moving average from below to above, and RSI dynamics are above the 50 mark, and the trend is weekly volatile. Therefore, here we have a 100% chance to open a buy trade, and indeed we opened the trade and calmly closed it in profit, so there is no overload in the trend, and indeed we opened the trade and calmly closed it, guys, in profit. And one more note for you guys, it is better to open trades with 3-minute expiration time because that is a more reliable option for entries. So here I opened a 1-minute trade because, as I said, the tutorial got long. Well guys, that's the core of the strategy, and you saw how I filter out false signals. Practice this setup, stick to the rules, and you will see the real change in your entries. So stay tuned. And my dear friends, if you have any question and you found some unclear moments during the watching this one, so go below the video, you'll find all the necessary links exactly to my Telegram where you can message me right now. So go there and check it out, and see you. Bye.